Okay, I think this has worked. Oh, hopefully it has worked. Right. Good afternoon, everyone. So why I know we've got 9 people, and I think we have about 22, 25 people that registered, and hopefully they can join. But in the world of project management, we're very time conscious. We don't play with time because time is money. So we'll just get started. So the first, I'll give you a background of why I setting up this session. So the first is I've worked in a project environment where a lot of people see project management and feel like, oh, they don't really do anything. And it will be a good idea to go into that team and just be a part of that team and just skive. So one of the teams that I was in before COVID, so there's a part of the floor that we sit down and we just sit and we look at screens and we walk about, and that's what people see. But we do a lot more than that. So some people from like the operations team just feel like a project management, that project team might just be the next best step for them. So maybe they are team managers, and then there's an opening in our team, and then they do the interview because they've been managing people. They pass the interview because project management is a lot about managing people. But there's a slight difference between managing people that you are responsible for their performance and managing people that you're not responsible for their performance. So that was the major difference there. So I know, so let's say in the course of, say, 3 years, um, 15 people come from the operation. Let me just use 10 as an example, so it's a round figure. So 10 people come from the operations team to the project team, and maybe 2 of them stay. The rest of them go back to managing people. And it's because it is very challenging when you actually get into it. Before you get into it, you think it's easy. It's very challenging. And it changes, it improves the type of person that you are. So I have some things prepared. I have, like, I call the 10+1 rules, like 11 rules that can help you thrive in project management. Hopefully we can go through them. If we don't finish, then maybe I'll do another session. But while I've prepared, I'll also want the session to not to be too rigid, not just me speaking. If you have questions, maybe raise your hand or put it somewhere, and then we can go through the question. Right. So what have I got? So I have this questionnaire that I want you people to go through. And so I have 2 of them. The first is about going through some of the skills that are important to be successful in project management. And then the other one is about after getting into project management, what role will likely suit your personality. And at the end, I have something that, even after going through the questionnaires, your current personality does not successfully align with project management or roles in project management. With a growth mindset, you can we can be whatever we want to be. There's something, is it in science or psychology or that's called neuroplasticity. So it means that human brain can adjust and adapt to a lot of things. So if we know that in our minds, then we should be prepared to do a lot of things that we currently think we cannot do. So we're fascinating machines that can achieve great things as humans. Right. So apart from colleagues that I've worked with in the past that came into project management and then went back to whatever field. So some went back to managing people, some went to risk, controls, so many different areas. I've also had people that have reached out to me that, because if you search the role, project management role, you see a lot of big money. And it's true. People earn a lot of money working in project management. There are contract roles that could pay between 500 and 1,000 pounds per day. So that is quite attractive, but it takes a lot to be able to get into that. So people reach out to me and say they want to go into project management and they want me to support them. And we start, but along the way, they then realize, it dawns on them that, this is not as easy as I thought. So some of them give up, some are not as committed as they were initially, and some actually go through all the pain and rejection and all the learning and then succeed. So I'm just preparing your mind as well. So this next slide is just about the questions about how I came about. The question is project management for everyone. So one is colleagues that I've worked with across so many different business areas, and then people that have reached out to me for support. I think it was last week I put this on my LinkedIn. So that I'm organizing this event, and I just asked, these days we can't really speak about almost anything and not talk about AI. So I just asked AI what AI's opinion is, and I find the opinion quite interesting. I was expecting AI to give me the popular opinion about project management, and the popular opinion about project management is that project management is about project planning tools. So if you speak to a lot of people about project management, they think it's about Gantt charts, it's about creating project plan, it's about project life cycle. Those things are they don't even scratch the surface of what project management is about, and this captures it really well. If you read what AI said and you're still confident that you can go through all this, then let's continue. So it says it's a mistake to think anyone can manage projects well. Project management is a specialized, often high stress and demanding field requiring high emotional intelligence, intense stakeholder communication, adaptability, and leadership, not just organizational skills. It involves navigating constant change, pressure, and complex team dynamics, making it unsuitable for those who dislike ambiguity or conflict and prefer routine. It's a technical skill requiring specific, often learned expertise in risk management and not just chasing tasks. So as I said, I have like 11 rules. They're not really rules, but some of them, they might be a repetition, they sound alike. Some of the core elements are the same, but some of the elements here have been covered. So like disliking ambiguity. When you see in a new environment, something you haven't experienced before, something you haven't seen before, what do you do? Do you run away, or do you lean into it to try to understand what is this thing actually telling me? And that's a very powerful skill. And that's the 11th rule that I have. Being comfortable with ambiguity is the 11th skill that I have. And it can be applied in every area of our lives. If you are not comfortable with ambiguity, the chances of succeeding in anything is really, really low. Right. So let's go to the first question. Now, this could take about 3 to 5 minutes. We can go through each of the questions in the questionnaire if we have time, but bring out your phones and scan this QR code and let's answer the question. I'll go through it as well, but I'll go on mute now, set a 5 minutes timer, and then we'll be back in 5. Please let me know if you're having any challenges with the timer. Or with the with the QR code, sorry. If you have any challenges or any questions. So okay. There's a question about being comfortable with ambiguity. Yeah, that's a really good question. Oh, yes, I stopped talking. So there's a QR code on the screen. Scan the QR code. If you can hear me, scan the QR code and go through the questionnaire. If you need more time, I can give more time. Can you hear me, T Crown? Okay. Do people need more time? Just put in the charts if you need more time. So what are your are there any does anyone want to is anyone surprised by what the questionnaire, the outcome that the questionnaire has given them? Anyone bold to share what their score was? Or the range of scores? I don't have the data in the back end, so I won't see it. I intentionally did it like that, just so people know and can work on it if that's something they really want to do. Any thoughts? So I'll go through my what I've called 11 rules, or yeah, I call the rules, and then we can come back to the questionnaire and go through each of the questions if time permits, so that I can explain the rationale or some of the things the questions mean. Just before we go ahead, did anyone have issues accessing the QR code? Oh, it's not 5 minutes yet. The timer was 5 minutes, but okay. I'll give more time. Let's. How many more minutes do people need? You can just put it in the chat. How long do you think it will take you to complete the rest of it? Okay, someone scored 71. And this questionnaire is a really it's a fairly good reflection of how you're likely to do, or give you a very good reflection, indication of what an actual project environment is like, and not what you see in a lot of places that project management is about. Okay, I have another questionnaire, but before I go into that questionnaire, which is more about roles in project management, because when we say project management, a lot of people just immediately think we're talking about the role project manager. Project management is wide, and there's so many roles. I can count like 14 in my head. There are some roles that you haven't even heard before. My current role, I haven't heard it before. It's called a technical coach. So if you want to apply for jobs, don't let the job title discourage you. Just read the job description. If it has to do with managing project from start to finish, or any aspect of a project, then it's easy project management role. Okay, someone scored 91. Well done. So what was I saying? Yeah, project management roles. So there's so many roles, and there's another questionnaire that will go through the roles. There's a role of a project manager, yes, and project manager has different levels. Someone could be a project manager in one organization and could be earning £30,000 £100. Someone could be the same project manager in another organization and be earning £120,000. So project manager has different levels, and it will not necessarily say senior project manager. It's just project manager, and the earnings different, significant. The income is significantly different. There's PMO analyst, so there's a project management office. In some organizations, there's a department that oversees the successful running of projects. So they provide guidance, governance, templates, so many different things. They manage budgets in some organizations, depending on how and why they are set up. Then there is change management. So project management is we're building something from start to finish. Like we're building a website, a mobile app, or we're changing the process an organization operates, the way they operate. We're changing the process. We're changing the structure of a setup of an organization. But when we talk about change management mostly deal with people. So in the example of creating a website, the project management team will manage that. If there is human elements, so if people need to change the way they work, the way they access the website, the way they engage with customers, then change management comes in and take people through the change journey. So you come in, we don't want it to be that you come in on Friday, you use your old system, you come in on Monday and you start using the new system. We want to be able to phase in training and the understanding of how the new system works. We want that to happen. So we want to be it to be structured. So that's change management. There's so many different levels and grades in change management. There's agile project management, there's Scrum Master. There's an organization called Scaled Agile. They saw a gap in project management where in agile project management, Scrum talks about how to manage one team. So Scrum focuses on one Scrum team. So Scaled Agile came up with Scaled Agile framework where you can apply Scrum at an enterprise level. A massive organization can apply Agile Scrum project management and successfully manage that through very large organization. So in Scaled Agile framework, there's release train engineer, and there's Scrum Master, or they call it team coach. Then there are architects. Which other roles? There's so many other roles that I saw a role the other day. They call it lead integrator or integrator. There's integrator, then there's lead integrator. There's business analyst, which we should all be aware of. So there's so many different roles in project management. So it's not just project manager. So let's go to my so-called rules. So number one, what's the first rule that I want to talk about? So the first is you want clear and specific instruction. Yeah, why I call them rules to help you succeed or thrive, but I've worded them in a way that it sounds personal. So if you are the type of person that you want clear and specific instructions before you can do things, then you're likely to struggle initially in project management, because you could start a project by just word of mouth. Yeah, it could be a small project by someone just saying, oh, this is not working, or we want to do this. And then that's the project brief. You have to go away and start getting more information on your own. And our leaders in organizations, they're really busy and they don't really have time. I have had to. I went into an operations team, so I was in a project team. So sometimes I go to operations team to listen to conversations, customer conversations, and in those kind of conversations, you can pick up an improvement, an opportunity, and then run with it. If it's something that is not working as a project management professional, you don't need anyone's permission. Yes, you technically need permission, but if it's the right thing to do, your job would be to tell the story to the right people so that they can come along on the journey with you. So they give you the money to deliver the project. You explain the project to them so they make it a priority. You do so many different things, put information together, presentations, and secure funding. Look for where funding is in the organization and the people that are likely to release the money. So you should have done your own work to know how much it will take to deliver that project. So if you just prefer, just tell me what exactly you want me to do, then you might struggle in project management because no one will tell you what exactly you need to do. You need to figure it out yourself. If you get into a project team and initially people will they'll cut you some slack. They know that you're new and you will not know some things. So project management things, they expect you to know it. But the big part when you join a new organization or a new project team is understanding their processes. So which will be fine for you to ask. But specifics around project management, no, that's something that you will know. But the processes, you would have to figure it out and ask questions. Ask questions, intelligent questions. So you won't get client-specific instructions. You won't get training. I don't know. Some organizations might want to train you, but I'm trying to think what they would train you on. They just expect you to figure things out, which is how we'll learn because the environment is moving, is shifting at a very fast pace. I know there's a question that I've not answered yet. Is being comfortable with ambiguity. That's my 10th, or is it 11th rule? But I can cover that now before we go into the second one. So let me see. We'll ask the question. So that is okay, Debola. So ambiguity means the way I like to describe it. Let me not just give definition. The way I like to describe it is when we're learning something, we are new to the thing. So riding a bicycle, learning how to code, learning how to drive. So it gets to a stage where we get good at what we're learning. So initially, when we start out, it is ambiguous, but eventually we get to a point where we're comfortable with the thing that we're learning, so we know. Ambiguity will then be, imagine yourself, so let's say it takes you 3 months or 6 months to get from not knowing to knowing. So in project management, that's if we're drawing a curve or a graph, it means that you will get from not knowing to knowing in 3 months or in 6 months, and that will be a continuous journey. So when you start a new project, you'll have to go back to not knowing, and then you go back to knowing, you'll have to go back to not knowing, and then you go back to knowing. So when you are faced with something you don't know, something you have no clue about. So you've worked in, let's say, compliance all your life, or you've written code all your life, and you are in a project team, and something that you've never done is being asked of you. What do you do? That's the question that being comfortable with ambiguity would like to answer. Do you deflect and be like, oh no, I don't know this and I've never done it? It's okay to say I've never done it, but what follows after you've never done it? Do you say I can't do it, or do you say I can figure it out? So when we see things that we have no clue about in the workplace, in our personal lives, do we lean in to understand that is this something that I can figure out, or are we just comfortable in a zone of knowing? I don't know if does that answer or explain. Is that enough?
Yes, thank you very much. Sorry, are
Okay.
we recording this meeting?
Yes, it is being
Okay.
recorded. Well, I pressed recording, and I hope that by the end it should have recorded. So I think is recording. That's my understanding. Yes. So rule number 2. Is it? Did I call it rules? Yeah, maybe. So I called it 10 plus 1 signs that you will thrive. So the number 1 is you want clear and specific instructions. Unfortunately, you won't get that in a project environment. You would have to learn to ask questions, because even the people that you want to ask questions, they might not know. So you have to be able to frame the question in a way that would tease out what you're looking for. Number 2, you prefer working alone, focused on your task. You won't really get this in a project environment. So once in a while, so let's take a project plan as an example. Yes, you might sit down to write a project plan, but the question is, the project plan, if you're building, whether it's a small or a massive project, you don't know anything about the project. Even if you know, you're not the one doing the work. So what project management is mostly is one person managing a project, or a number of people managing work streams or aspects of projects, and they're bringing people together to build something. So you're building a website, you're building features in a mobile app, while one person could be building the front end, one person could be doing the back end. Yeah, some people can do both front end and back end. One person could be the one that knows about user experience, be doing one person could be the architect that would actually come up with what you want to build. If it's an organization that has regulations, you might need input from the legal team, you might need input from the compliance team, from the privacy. So there is no way that you can sit down by yourself to create something as simple as a project plan, because one, the amount of time it would take to do the job, you don't know. It is only the people that will do the job that will know how long it would take for a task to complete. Then you also now have to figure out which task or activity would happen at what time. So you need to always bring people together. So bring people together, ask them questions, get into their heads to understand what they're thinking, to understand what risks, what problems are likely to arise. So you will hardly ever, in a day, maybe you get 30 minutes to yourself doing something like a focus task. Even at that, in that 30 minutes, you're thinking about questions that you want to ask people. In a month, so to be a good project management professional, you don't really have time to do focused tasks, because all you're doing is bringing people together. Although as humans, we sometimes feel that we need to show people that we're working, because someone that has been writing code for 10, 15 years and then comes into project management, they're used to building something tangible and then showing people that this is what I've done. Project management professionals don't have that luxury. And a lot of people struggle when they first come into project management because you can't really say this is what I have built until the project completes. And it's still not you that built it. You just brought the team together to build it. So you will hardly ever have time to focus on one thing. If there are things to focus on, maybe you're creating a PowerPoint and you want to really tell a story to a team so that they can buy in, yes, that happens. But a lot of your time is engaging with people, speaking with people, asking questions. So if you don't like things like that, then think again or start the journey now. Because I want to say the only way, but it might not be the only way, but the only way I know that we can get better at things is just by doing them. In therapy or in psychology, there's something they call exposure therapy. If you have fear of something, if you have phobia of being in a height or being in a claustrophobic, being in an enclosed place, what therapists might suggest is to expose you to that thing that you're scared of. So people that are scared of scorpions or spider, they expose them to that, and then you see that, okay, it's not the end of the world. So to get exposed, start speaking to people. Number 3, what's the third one? Let's see. If you have any questions, just put in the chat. So you want 80% or more information before taking decisions. So it's kind of like the first one, which talks about specific instructions. But the reason I separated this out, so wanting clear and specific instructions, it could be about what to do next. Wanting clear and specific instructions is slightly different from making decisions. You might not necessarily be making decisions, but the reason I put making decisions here is making decisions is how do you know what to do next? We see a lot of leaders, political leaders, business leaders. We think their work is easy when we're talking about politics. Oh, why can't they just do this? Why can't they just do that? A lot of the times, by the time things get to their table, the options that they are usually 2 bad options. They just have to choose the least bad, if there's any word like that. So to make decisions, we just have to start making decisions. Even if we start with bad decisions, over time we'll get better. The way we can know it's a bad decision, if it's not an obviously bad one, is by making the decision first and then seeing how it plays out. In a work environment, if we have to make decisions and we already have 80% of the information, then that's no longer a decision. That's just something that's happening. It's no longer a decision. Difficult decisions are the ones where we don't have information, and that's why we're there as leaders, as project management leaders, to use. God has given us a gift, and is intuition, gut feel. A lot of the times, our gut feels, our intuitions are always right. And if we try them, when they are not right, we know that next time we won't make that type of decision in that particular way again. So in making decisions, we don't get all the information. We only have very limited information. And then we can capture things that are unknown. We can capture them as risks, and then track them, monitor them to see how they pan out, how they perform over the life cycle or over the lifetime of the project. Sometimes you might only get 20-30% information make decision. Some of the kind of decisions that we get to make. So the organization is moving from one system to another. You want to determine whether to build the solution in-house or just buy it from an organization that has that solution. So do you want to build an AI solution in your organization, or do you want to just get OpenAI to come and plug in something into the system of the whole organization and then ChatGPT in everything or Claude in everything? So those are the kind of decisions that you have to make, and there are pros and cons to every decision. So it's quickly thinking about these pros and cons. But even with the clear pros and cons, there are just some things that we might not just be able to know until we make the decision and see how it plays out. It's just like in playing, when we play football. Yes, you want to put the right people, the very good people in the team, but you don't know the outcome of the game. But you just have to go with your gut feel, with how you feel, the people you feel should play in the team at that time. Real decisions are never, ever straightforward. So in our daily lives, in the small, little daily things that we do, let's intentionally make decisions and see how it goes. So I think that's number 3. Is there a question? So how do you record outcome on your efforts and actions in that case, especially when you'll be expected to submit a report? So, interesting. So, submitting a report might not necessarily be, I can't remember when last I've done a report. One of my performance goals that I've used for so many years, I word it in I create an environment, or I will create an environment for, say, continuous improvement. How do I track that? So every day I'm asking myself, what are the things that I can do today, or what are the things I can do throughout the week that will give my team an opportunity to continuously improve? So it could be that I reduce the waiting time. So a lot of the challenges we have, especially in project management generally, a lot of the challenges we have is not in building the thing, is in handoffs, especially in complex, large projects. Is that someone in one team builds a part of a system, and then you're waiting for approval or gate assessment or some governance checks or some compliance checks, and that takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. So creating an opportunity for continuous improvement. So in that kind of situation, I'm thinking, what can I do that would either shorten that wait time if I have control over it, or can I get the team to kind of do all the work they want to do? So, for instance, if you use 2 weeks to build a part of a system, and then 1 month for approval to move to the next bit, can we be working? Can we be building? So if we do 2 weeks, 1 month, then another 2 weeks, that's 2 months for a work that just should take 1 month, and then there will be another approval at the end. That's 3 months. So can we build the 2 weeks in parallel and get all the approvals at the same time? So we're reducing the 3 months timeline, we're reducing it to 2 months. So in that instance, I've created an opportunity for the team to think differently and improve the way they work. So cutting down from 3 months to 2 months. So the report is usually centered on how the team manages scope, time, budget. So in terms of reporting in this day and time, reporting sometimes feel like a traditional thing that teams used to really focus on. We don't want to focus too much on reporting and not focus on spending time to do the actual work. When I started my career in project management, even before project management, a lot of the things I used to do was reporting. You have project, what do they call it? Projects, is it working groups or project boards that meet maybe weekly or fortnightly? So let's say we meet on a Friday. Before that Friday, I've used the whole week to prepare the pack that we'll go through on Friday. After Friday, I'm doing minutes, I'm doing the pack for the next meeting. So we don't really get time to do the actual work, which is speak with the teams that do the work and get them to improve the work that they're doing. So in Agile project management, we try as much as possible to reduce the reporting, to make reporting organic. So when we use systems like Jira, for instance, and then there are a lot of enterprise project management tools and systems. A lot of the things are in the system. So you can just click one or two buttons and get the report. So the reporting is not really a job. It's not really a job that we should be focusing on. Though, so that we feel like we're doing something, yeah, we could be focusing on the reporting. But as project management professionals, we just need to understand that the reporting is not the work. The reporting, the meetings is not the work. The work is, what does the project want to achieve? If the project wants to achieve report, fine. But if what the project wants to achieve is build a system, is reduce customer complaints, is increase customer acquisition, then that is what we should be focusing on, not reports. Yes, very senior stakeholders want to know what is going on. So we can tailor reports that will suit that audience, but we shouldn't be focusing on reports in project management. Nah, I'm not a lot of people could be doing it, but I'm not a fan of reporting. I can report the actual work on, let us improve this work, rather than let's do this, but let's create highlight report, let's create progress report, let's do status report. The budgets, there's a system, is in a system, and just click a button and the people that need to see how budget is being spent are seeing it. So people are not really spending, the people doing the work are not really spending a lot of time focusing on the budget. What they do is just to fill in their timesheet and then the report goes somewhere. Scope, in the olden days, we have a fixed scope. So this is what we want to do, and we do all the requirements and work on that fixed scope, whether it's good or bad, whether it's wrong or right. We work on it for 2 years and deliver a project at the end. But in this day and age, that things can change in 2 months, in 2 weeks, in 3 months. So we plan for maybe 3 months. This is what we want to achieve in 3 months. And if the customers come and say, yeah, we initially wanted this, but we no longer want it, we want something different, then we would have to assess that, okay, this is what the customer wants now. Do we need more money? Do we have the right people to do the work? And that decision is made really quickly. And I'm talking about the ideal. It might not be that easy in a real environment, but the scope is usually what the customer wants. We don't want to have a fixed scope. Okay, what else? efforts and action. Okay, so I think, please, have I answered the questions that are there? So
yes, sir. Thank you so
okay.
much. It's quite clear.
So is this a question or just a contribution? While monitoring projects and communicating with stakeholders on Jira and other tools, sometimes reports are required before handover, which shows the project work from start to finish and how those factors are managed. Was that a question or just a contribution? Okay, thank you. It's a contribution. Any questions? So you won't get all the information before you make decision. This one too is similar to some of the ones that we've said, which is you prefer to be told what to do next. You won't be told what to do next. I know when we're younger, we used to try to form as if we're independent. We don't like to be told what to do. But now we want to be told what to do. You want to know what we need to do. What should I be doing next? So you won't get a lot of that. You should be using your what's it called? I can't remember the exact word I'm looking for.
Initiative.
Initiative, thank you. So I remember one time there was an IVR. So IVR, I think is interactive voice response. So there was an IVR in my team that one team was complaining that they get a lot of calls that they can't deal with. So they have to hand over the call to another team. So they brought it to the team that we should help them find a solution. And the one of the solutions was that let's just direct the calls to the right team. So it doesn't first go to one team because that's no good customer experience. Customer is first going through security, spending 1 or 2 minutes with one team, and then we'll now tell you we don't like those things. You pass the customer through 3 different teams before they get what they've called for, and we don't like that. That's not good customer experience. That's a waste of customers' time because the customer just knows that I am calling these organizations. They don't care what department you're in. They just know that if you're calling a bank, they're calling the bank. If it's a internet service provider, they don't care what department. If they're an energy provider, they don't care. They just want their problem resolved. So we're discussing the problem and was almost like analysis paralysis. We're just having meetings and conversations. You just go to a stage. I just picked up the phone and then I called the IVR. I experienced what they were talking about, and that just changed everything. So no one told me what I needed to do. I just felt that this thing that we're analyzing, that we're explaining and having meetings on, let me just see what exactly they're talking about, because we can keep explaining for weeks and trying to get the right requirements, but once I have experienced it, then I know what the real problem is, and it would help my own understanding to find a lasting solution to that problem. So things like that, you do a lot of them. So okay, yeah, someone said backlog management have refined, and refinement have replaced scope in today's world. Yes, in a lot of organizations now are more agile, and just as I said, that customers, we're just focused on what customers want. So customers tell us what they want, we put it on something called the backlog. I didn't want to be too technical. Just put it on the backlog, and then we pick things up from there. We prioritize them appropriately depending on what the customer says is priority for them. Right. So where are we? So you prefer to be told what to do next? Nah, no one tells you what to do next. Even if even when you work on a project and the project finishes or ends, sometimes you might be the one to come up with the next project. It might just be a small project. Sometimes you might just start helping another team and gradually you are working on that project. So there's a lot of discretion in the world of project management. So that's number 1, 2, 3, 4. That's number 4. So number 5, don't take things personally. So I'm sure I wrote you feel strongly about your opinion. Nah, you don't really have an opinion. The opinion you have is the opinion of the project. So sometimes we feel so strongly that something should be done in a certain way. We might be right, we might be wrong, but we can't take it personally. All we need to do is to let people see things from our perspective. That's the only tool that we have. That's the only tool that we have. And I think, is it the next one? The next two are kind of slightly linked. One is about control and one is about authority. So you cannot feel strongly about your opinion. All you can do is influence, show data, show information that will make people see things from your perspective. Because you're there to bring people together to achieve a vision, to solve a problem, to achieve a purpose. So it's not in your place to have strong opinions. All you need to do is to bring people together to see things from your perspective, to influence them to say, oh, okay, maybe we should do it that way. You mostly have suggestions. While you might have some authority, which I will mention later, you might have some authority in terms of maybe how meetings run or how money is spent. You might not necessarily have authority on resources, on the people, might not necessarily have authority on how things should be done, but you can have suggestions and guide on how they should be done. So you have power, but you don't have power. You have authority, but you don't really have the authority because you can't really use them per se. So there I put it as well. Let go of control. You don't have control. And I spoke about authority. Some people can mostly only function in an hierarchical environment. They want to tell people what to do. So the only times that they can make people do things is because they are their bosses, and people just have to do things because my boss told me to do things. In a project environment, you hardly have authority over. It's not really an hierarchical environment because, in the example that I gave, that you're building features in a mobile app or on a website, you're bringing people for comfort. So you are a project management professional, maybe business analyst or project manager, change manager, registration engineer, scrum master, agile coach. Someone from compliance is coming. The person might be a senior. Someone from legal is coming. Someone from risk is coming. Someone from, just name it. People from different departments are coming, from the operations team. They're coming. They're part of the project. You don't have authority over their performance because they have their day job that they're doing, that they're being graded on. So the effective way to get them to do things is to make them see what's in it for them, is to influence them. So if we're building a feature in a website, in a mobile app, and the feature will bring business of 10 million pounds to the organization over 12 months. and someone from legal has to make a decision, and they are delaying the decision. Telling them to do what they need to do might not be that effective, but making them understand that the delay is costing the organization X million pounds would change the way they think about that decision significantly, because they will think about, oh, that could be part of my bonus. Oh, do my bosses want to hear that I'm the one delaying the organization and the organization is likely to lose money? So the way we frame conversations, the way we frame conversations will help the people working with us to think differently about the decisions that they need to make concerning project, because we don't really have authority over them. They have their day jobs, they have their teams, they have their performance management, and you will hardly see that maybe someone in an operations team that manage customer calls. I don't think they will have it in their performance objective that work on project and do their performance objective is likely to be about the operations part of the business rather than project management side of the business. So over time, learn to communicate in a way that will influence people to do the right things. Yeah, I found this relevant. I found this on the internet. It says, the truth nobody tells you about project management. You own the outcome, you control nothing. Project management is 100% accountability, 0% authority. And then I say you spend influence. Influence is the only thing, is an effective thing that you have. Making people see things from your perspective, making people think about decisions differently, making people see what's in it for them when they're making decisions, when they're working on projects. And one of the other ones I have is, you believe you have communicated. One of the other rules I have, I think that's number 8. You believe that you have communicated just because you have sent an email or just because you have spoken. You haven't really communicated. Effective communication is you continue saying things, you continue iterating, saying it in different ways, in different formats, PowerPoint, verbal, go to their desk. You will continue saying it until it sticks. And I found this as well. When I was doing my project management professional certification, I think it says that 90% of project management is communication. Now, but the question came out in the exam, and I think I got the question correctly, but it now makes a lot of sense that all you're doing every day, 24/7, is thinking and communicating, because all the other things that we've said previously, they are about communication. They're about you thinking and then thinking about how you will say things, thinking about how you do things effectively. So you're talking with a lot of people, you're explaining things to them, you're trying to get what's in their head, you're trying to make them see things from different perspectives. So it's all about communication. Oh, this picture I stole from the internet, there's a typo. Managers, maybe it's another language. The manager is not spelled correctly. Right, so that's number 8. Then number 9, you prioritize doing over thinking. Prioritize doing over thinking. I think I've touched on aspects of this previously. A lot of your work is thinking, what can I do today? How can I improve the team today? sometimes we just want to chase tasks and do tasks because as humans, it feels good to do things and feel like you're making progress. But the effective way is to think about the things that will move the project forward, that will improve the way people are working, that will unblock a problem, a blocker, a challenge that the team is facing. So those are the things that kind of move the needle, and not, I've said this a number of times, chasing tasks. I know people don't like to hear that, but I'm not a fan of chasing tasks. There are powerful things that we can do that, rather than spending our time to do very mundane things like just copying and pasting on an Excel spreadsheet, or chasing someone to update a date on Jira, or those kind of little tasks. But in an 8-hour day, you can just find that that's the only thing you're doing. You're copying and pasting, you're formatting Word documents, you're doing pivots on Excel, and sometimes we feel that, oh, I've done a lot today. But the actual work of moving the project forward is not being done, because copying and pasting into Excel will not move the project forward. It's just you're trying to get information, you're trying to present information to people, except maybe if there's a decision that needs to be made and you're trying to do a compelling presentation. Yeah, spend time on that, but not just copying and pasting, doing Word documents, doing pivots. Nah. So spending time sometimes might just be 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes. Just think that, okay, what is one thing that I want to improve over the next 2 weeks, 1 month? And it could just be that the team have 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes to focus on the work that they're doing. You protect the team. It could be that I want to protect the team from external influences. So anyone that wants to come to the team, come through me, and maybe I'll set up time that team, let's come together. Everyone that has questions, let them ask you at this time, 9 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Because when someone goes to someone that's writing a code, and you distract them, by the time they come back to that task, they might have lost. They might need like another 30 minutes before they actually get into the flow of what they were doing before they were distracted. So I try to protect my team. So that's number 9. We should, so there's a picture here that kind of gives a fairly good idea of what that means. So updating Jira, Gantt charts, running, this one even says running endless meetings, tracking tasks and sending reminders. So we think that's the job. But hey, all the other things below the iceberg, they are about thinking, creating clarity when the path is uncertain, communicating the same message in 5 different ways, which was why I said when I spoke about communication, you just keep saying the same thing in different ways so that people eventually get. Because just saying it once, or because you sent an email, you think that you've communicated and people have heard you. No, they haven't. They have more important things to think about, and it's not you. And then you like to be in the spotlight. We come to work, we want to be recognized for the work that we're doing. But unfortunately, sometimes in project management, you don't get recognized. And it's not like it's intentional and people don't just want to recognize you. It's usually when things are going well, you don't get noticed. And that's just the way human beings are. Okay, Debola, I'll come to you now soon. So when things are going well, you don't get recognized. Okay, let's use vehicles. So if you drive a car and the car, you start it every morning, it works. To you, the car is just something that moves you from point A to point B. But the day you're going to work or you're trying to go somewhere important and the car doesn't work, then you know that car is important. So sometimes in project management, when things go wrong, you get a lot of attention because information gets to a lot of places. That's when you know that the project is important. So it's either when things go wrong or when the project finishes and you successfully deliver the project, everyone is happy, then we also celebrate. But the other side is that as a project management professional, especially if you are like the one leading the project or you have people working with you in a team, while you might not get recognition or from people, stakeholders, please be the one to recognize your team, because the fact that you're not being recognized does not mean that you should not appreciate your team and thank them. You're not getting it doesn't mean you shouldn't give it. So that's what we do. That's what you should do. Recognize your teams all the time, every day, all day, even twice on Sundays. But we don't encourage working on Sundays. We don't encourage working overtime in project management. In a lot of project management teams, you will hardly see teams that encourage overtime, except something goes wrong that affects production, that affects actual customers. Then to fix it, yes, but we don't really encourage overtime on BA, business as usual projects running. So those are the 10, and then there is one more. But before I go to that one more, I'll come to you, Debola. Question or contribution?
Thank you. It's just to clarify a statement you made around focusing on the projects or things that will move the projects forward instead of having to chase around people. So how does a project manager get to balance that in a situation where the project team are not, doing what they're supposed to be doing, and the work is being lagging behind?
Okay. So the first is to pray that people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And these are some of the difficult aspects of project management. One of the things I mentioned is that you don't really have authority over people. So you just have to hope and pray that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. When they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, yes, you will encourage them. And that could be in form of influencing them to understand what's in it for them. There are a number of processes that are embedded into day-to-day project management that makes things like this, that reduces it significantly. So for instance, in an agile project environment, we're building a system for the organization. We have planned and asked this person, how long will it take for you to do XYZ? And the person has said it will take 2 weeks. We are meeting every single day, even if it's just for 15 minutes. We are meeting every day to see how you are getting on with the task that you say will take 2 weeks. So it's quite difficult for us to get to 2 weeks before we see that you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You would have cut it out on the first day, or on the second day, or on the third day, or on the fourth day. So it happens, but it is rare. Especially when you're working in an agile project environment, it is rare that people will not be doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yes, sometimes people don't do what they're supposed to be doing, but those, they are caught early. They don't really get to the end before you see that, this person is not, or this team is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I don't know. Does that make sense? We work very closely with teams. Is almost like micromanaging, but it's a healthy type of micromanaging. It's not, well, what are you doing? It's more about what support do you need? Are there things blocking or preventing you from achieving the goals that we have agreed that you're going to achieve? So it's a more supportive type of, and the people will not like me calling it micromanaging, but really sometimes meeting every day to assess how you're doing, to assess if you have any challenges. It's a good thing. So yeah, that's how we manage it. Right. So that's number 10. And then, okay, comfortable with ambiguity. That's the last one. And then after all these, if you've heard all what I've said and you still believe that project management is for you, then congratulations. It means that you believe that there is something called growth mindset. So having a growth mindset is, this thing, I might not be able to do it now, but I believe that with the right incentives, if I invest the right amount of time, of effort, then I might be able to achieve that thing. So we need to build our mindset to be a growth mindset. So sometimes we say, oh, this is how I am, these are the things I like. But the era of that has passed now. With AI, we might have 10, 15, 20 different career in our lifetime. Maybe not our own generation, but our kids. Even me, now I'm beginning to see myself in so many different perspectives. So yeah, work-wise, I'm a project management professional. I'm also a Christian, and I speak about the understanding of God. So that's another hat. I'm a father. I speak about parenting. I'm also a husband. I've been married for 15 years now. So I have 15 years experience in marriage. So just me, I've quickly talked about 4 different, I can call them career paths, I can call them roles, responsibilities, and they keep expanding. I'm likely to start something that is like a charity pretty soon. So that's another thing that I'll be doing. So in this our lifetime, it's the opportunities are endless. The opportunities are endless. The questionnaire that I shared initially at the beginning of the session was something that I did on a system called Replit, and I don't think it didn't take up to 10 minutes. If I was going to build this, if there are software engineers on the call and they're going to build it, it will take hours, if not days. So the future is here. So a growth mindset is believing that you can, for things that you want to do, for things that you really they are interested in. When we're younger, and I've used this bicycle example, when we're younger, for people that know how to ride bicycle, when we're younger and learning how to ride bicycle, when I'm very surprised if there's anyone that learned how to ride a bicycle and did not fall from the bicycle throughout their learning experience. I'm very surprised if there's anyone like that. So when we fall from the bicycle, I don't think any child will say, oh no, I'm no longer learning how to ride. Even if they say it, the next day they will come back and try to learn again. So that's how growth mindset is, believing that I am not fixed. There's neuroplasticity. I can learn anything that I put my mind to. 2 years ago now, I just thought that, oh, people sing, I want to sing, and I went to the studio, I wrote the song, and I sang the song, and people liked the song. People like the song. So that's just an example of a growth mindset. Okay, someone said it fell multiple times from bicycle. Yeah, that's it. And today you will know how to ride bicycle. So I think the most important thing of all I've said is this growth mindset, and it links with being comfortable with ambiguity, comfortable with the things you don't know, leaning. That's the best thing. Because if you say, for instance, you're a software developer and that is your identity, that is what you want to continue doing. The first job that AI is taking these days is software development. It's really shocking. It's surprising. Previous industrial revolutions, they take the lower level jobs, but this one has gone for the jugular. It's gone for the big boys. And there's this guy, the CEO of NVIDIA. He says it in a very interesting way, that there's the task of our jobs, and then there is the purpose of our jobs. I'm using software development as an example because that's what I know. Those are the people I work with. The task of a software developer is to write code. So any software developer that thinks that that's their job, that's the end of their job, then they would only see themselves as someone that writes programming language, someone that writes a code. But the purpose of a software developer's job is to solve problems. So people that can solve problems will continue to be relevant in that world, rather than people that just think that their job is to write code. Me, as a project management professional, the task of my job could be setting up meetings, could be creating project plans, could be chasing people to do things. But the purpose of my job is to bring people together to create great things. So while AI might be able to do the task of my job, it will take some time. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it will take some time for AI to be able to take the actual purpose of my job. Because a lot of the important aspect of our job is judgment. AI does not have judgment. AI does not know that this is what I should do at this time. AI knows the words that should follow specific words. But AI does not know if killing is good or bad, because cannot necessarily say in what context that should happen. Yeah, it might have read things online that they used to train it to determine what should be what, but the human judgment, intuition, it doesn't have it yet. Will it ever get there? I don't know. So yeah, let's build our growth mindset. Try to be comfortable with ambiguity, and that's my exposure therapy. There's also this guy that I listen to, Rory Sutherland. He's a marketing guru, and about this AI thing, he gives an example of a doorman fallacy. So the way AI CEOs market AI is to say, oh, you have a doorman in your organization, maybe in a hotel, maybe in a house, and the job of the doorman is to open doors. So AI organizations can say the job of a customer service person is to just answer calls and give predetermined responses to people that ask questions, people that call into the business. But when the organization now lets go of the doorman, they could then realize that the work of the doorman was not just to open doors. So let's say a hotel, for instance, some of the other work that they do could be just welcoming people. Sometimes you go somewhere, you see someone that welcomes you, they smile at you. It's a different experience. Sometimes they get intelligence. So some things might be going on around, and then the doorman gisting with somebody, might know that thing going around, and then that intelligence is passed to the management of the business, and it doesn't impact their business. But those cannot be quantified because they are not written in the job description of a doorman. The job description of a doorman would have been open door, closed door. So if I have advice for organizations CEOs should actually take time to understand the jobs, the purpose of the roles that people are doing in the organizations, and not let AI CEOs market them into getting rid of a lot of people that they might eventually realize that it wasn't the right decision. Right. I had another questionnaire about specific roles. We've only got 1 minute. I don't know. Do people have? I can stay on, but do people have questions? Should we go through the questionnaire? Should we stay on for a little bit? So what are your thoughts? So that's all I've got for today. Except you have any specific questions or you want us to go through the roles questionnaire, but I can also send that to you. Or we can also go through the questions in the first questionnaire as well. So I'll take 1 minute break and I'll come back and see if there are any questions. Okay, there are no questions. Let me see if I can. Should I go through the first questionnaire or let's do the second questionnaire? Let's do the second questionnaire. Let's see what roles people are likely to come up with. So, yeah. So what project management role is likely to suit you? What project management role is likely to suit you? So, let's give it. This one is a shorter one, but yeah, we can give it like another 5 minutes. I'll put a 5 minutes timer on. So I started the timer. It's 4 minutes 29 now.
I don't know. Nothing was coming up on my screen, even though I was able to capture it, but it's bringing up a blank page.
Oh, technology is not working this time.
I don't know if anyone is experiencing same.
Oh, I've just tried it. I think yes, is not bringing it up. Let me see. Let me see if I can fix it. It's not working. Well, it's not working for me. I don't know if it's working for other people. Oh, it's working for some people. Maybe it's network. It didn't work for. Let me just refresh and refresh. Oh, okay. Is anyone else able to access the questionnaire?
Is it the 10 questions?
I think so.
The PM World Matter?
Yes.
Okay, I can access it.
Oh, okay. So it's just us that cannot access it. It's like.
So maybe it's just only me then.
And me too.
Okay.
I tried to do it.
Let me just try to.
Oh, it's come. It's worked now.
It came up and then went blank again for me.
Oh, I think it's network.
Maybe.
Mobile network. What network do you use? Is it 3?
3. Yes.
Oh, okay. Me too. I use 3. That's why. Maybe 3 is not playing ball this time.
Okay, it's up now. It's up now. Let me just quickly answer my.
If anyone is anyone still going through the questionnaire? Has everyone finished? And if you can, when you finish, you can post what it says, what roles is bringing as your number one. What are the other options? Okay. We got some bees in the house. DM, PMO, a tie. Natural PM. Mm. Okay, I think we can start thinking of wrapping up. Let me open it up. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions at all, even if it's not related to what I've said? Any questions around anything? If I can answer, I can answer. If I cannot answer, I'll just say I don't know. Yeah. Any questions at all? QA lead, BA. Oh, okay. Interesting.
Please, I would like to ask.
Yeah.
What kind of support can you provide to someone who is looking forward to really get their hands dirty? Yeah, let me use for myself because I used to be in the customer service role, so I'm still around, still within that role as I speak. But I want to transition into the PM role. So I've taken some steps in terms of writing some professional exams. So if I really want to get my hands dirty